Since the very beginning of Abdul Latif Jameel, being better every day has been a critical philosophy for success and is enshrined in our core brand value, improve. Today, this ethos is more relevant than ever and has been honed through our multi-decade relationship with Toyota in the deployment of Kaizen. We caught up with Fady and Hassan Jameel to explore their own views on why the Kaizen philosophy is so important at Abdul Latif Jameel. What was your first experience of Kaizen?
Well, my grandfather really had a similar philosophy to Kaizen, which was continuous improvement. This is something very similar to what Kaizen is, something very similar to what TMC teaches us and has taught us, and an example which we follow as a family, something that's been baked in our culture, so to speak. And we continue to adapt and continue to improve with this philosophy as we go ahead. My first experience with Kaizen was quite humbling. I was studying in Japan and university in my late teens, and TMC decided to send me to the Altona plant in Melbourne, Australia. Back then we were importing the Camry to Saudi Arabia and other regions. The experience was one of the best I've ever had because it was the true essence of what Kaizen is, and that's manufacturing. I was quite young and inexperienced, but working with the engine and body parts and all these examples really gave me a true understanding of what it really was.
So I spent, as Faisal mentioned, some time in Japan, and I worked in a division called the Domestic Kaizen Division. And I was actually the first non-Japanese to work in that division because it was only focused on domestic operations and domestic dealers. So what we used to do is we used to work with different dealer service operations. We used to work supply chain projects. We used to work in factories on production line on Kaizen projects and how to improve a process. We worked on a production line. It was actually a used car cleaning operation. You know, they clean the cars, you know, and then there's a production line. And we did what's called Yamazumi. Yamazumi is basically where you stand in front of a mechanic or a technician or an operator, and basically with a stopwatch, from the morning, from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m., you're clicking every single thing he's doing, he or she are doing, every single thing. And, you know, they start operation 9 o'clock, they go to get a towel, okay. They went for 30 seconds even to get a towel. They go to get a tool from their colleague, okay. They spent about a minute to get that tool. They go to the washroom. Again, they went to the washroom. Everything. We monitor every single thing. I didn't understand why we were doing this. It was very strange for me. At the end of the day, even the end of a few days after we do every single thing on an Excel sheet. I went to my boss, and at the time I said to him, okay, what's the purpose of this? You know, I didn't understand. Why are we doing this? He said, did you measure any muda, which is waste of time? I said, well, not really. He went, you know, to the washroom. He said, no, the washroom is his personal time. It's fine. It's not muda. He has to go to the washroom. I said, okay, he went to get a tool from the tool shed, for example. He went to get a towel to clean his hand or something. Great. Can you improve that? How much time did he use? I said, he wasted maybe 1 minute. He said, wonderful. 1 minute, that's great. I said, why is 1 minute great? It's 1 minute for one guy. He said, can you make it 30 seconds? I said, yeah, I can make it 30 seconds. We just put a tool next to him and he doesn't have to go anymore. He said, wonderful, that's so great. And he was so happy. And I didn't understand what's 1 minute or 30 seconds or this little time. But he explained to me, he said to me, imagine this is just 30 seconds you're saving here, or whatever, 1 minute or 2 minutes or 3 minutes. Imagine if you multiply that to every single mechanic on that production line. Imagine if you multiply that by every single day. Imagine if you multiply that by weeks and months and years. How much more efficient could you become? And to me, that's when I realized, okay, I get it.
Who is Kaizen for?
Now, when people hear this, they think, okay, Kaizen is operational. Kaizen is something you do in the service operations or in a service facility. But actually, there is Toyota Way today and Kaizen in hospitals in Japan. You know, there's hospitals that have taken up Toyota Way and Kaizen and Toyota Way production system in hospitals. There is, I just found out when I was in Japan this week or last week, there's something called Office Kaizen. Office Kaizen. There's actually a department in Toyota that has about 50 people, 40, 50 people who focus on Office Kaizen and how does data move, how does data come, how do you organize yourself. So Kaizen is not something that is just for a production line or for service mechanics or for a technician. It can really be, I believe, you know, and it can really be implemented anywhere and everywhere.
It's really interesting to note that Kaizen doesn't only apply to front-level employees or our colleagues who just joined us. I know of presidents and vice presidents, the chairman himself of TMC uses Kaizen on a daily life basis. It's almost a philosophy to them, and they always talk about it when we meet them. It's a continuous discussion, it's a continuous application, something that we've embraced so strongly at ALJ.
So it wasn't about a big billion-dollar idea that I'm going to change the world. It was about small ideas that are done by every single person in the company that are incremental every single day. And if the organization works on doing this every single day, the whole organization moves together as becoming more efficient and more productive, and that's the mentality of Kaizen.
What do you think Kaizen really is?
I think there's a misunderstanding with Kaizen that there always is an end game or a conclusion. There really isn't. It's always happening, it will always happen. There is always room for improving the situation or improving your goals. I think we learn and lead by example. I was trained in the Kaizen philosophy. My brother was trained, my father was trained, other members of the family and our colleagues were trained over the last 30 to almost 40 years. So this has really instilled a great respect to these practices, and we'd like to share them with our newfound colleagues.
We need to, of course, be adaptable to change. We need to create a structure to be resilient, and we need to be flexible. We need to be able to change with the times. Most importantly is we need to be one team.
This culture is really something to embrace because it works so well, and it's extremely fulfilling. Something that I found, and my brother and my father have found quite amazing. Kaizen is not about processes or spreadsheets or filling out forms. It's really applying yourself. It's really allowing others to apply themselves. This is the beauty of it. And once that idea becomes part of what you do, it becomes actually quite easy and something you would want to do and want to use as a tool in your everyday life in business.
What are the key success factors for Kaizen?
It's about every single person being empowered. It's about every single person being able to make a change, even if it's a very, very small change. I see it really as these are all great opportunities. These are all great opportunities for us to start rethinking and relooking how we do business.
What do you expect of associates in leadership positions on Kaizen?
I think from experience, the key factor would be humility. Another factor would be respect for our colleagues across the board. These two things are, we hold very, very dear. We hold very, very, in very high regard. I think it's important for leaders to be very open and very understanding, at the same time allowing people to experiment, allowing people to fail, and really joining in the conversation and listening. Leaders coaching is quite key. It's important for them to understand exactly what the problems are, but also what the conclusions can be. But solving together is more important than just addressing the issue individually.
We need to communicate, we need to share, we need to unify each other, and I think that's going to be the main foundation for us to look at this new world that we look at today.
So within the Kaizen journey, I think leaders should be showing their best practices as examples, and that could be things that have worked, but also things that haven't worked, and how they've gone and solved these issues.
Not a perfect company, but we're aspiring, to always improve, no matter where we are. I think it's our responsibility collectively as leaders is to communicate and say, okay, how can we do this better? I want to talk to you, I want to tell you, and everybody, and all the leaders, including myself, including Faisal, will listen to you. Will say, the way you're doing this in this company, it doesn't really apply, or the way you're doing this in this company, it applies, but we want to change. It doesn't matter, we can have that conversation.
I think it's important to have the Kaizen marathons, something that we've been doing for a long time. It gives a spirit of the group working together and feeling part of the team. I think that's very key. It's very important that we celebrate our colleagues' achievements together. It's a team effort, and that's how we operate at Abdul Latif Jameel.